Okay, so we are so live. And I'm so loving this. Hi, everybody. I'm Loretta McNary, host of Loretta McNary Live and Loretta McNary Show, CEO of McNary Media Network. And I have one of my guests on. I want to say she is probably the guest who's been on the show the most at this point. She has been my guest for the last 12, 13 years. We try to do an annual show, and this is probably 12th year because we didn't do
Mhm.
2020. But
Right.
Barbara, I'm going to bring her on, but she is one of the most amazing, persistent ladies. She never takes no for an answer. She gets done what she has to get done, and you're going to love her story because more will be revealed. So tell a friend to tell a friend that we're on and tell them to jump on and listen to this show because this show will definitely inform you, educate you, entertain you, and inspire you. So everybody welcome my friend. She goes by the AKA of Barbara the Zebra Lady, and we'll tell you why. Barbara, why are you the Zebra Lady?
Well, I have pulmonary hypertension, and this November is Pulmonary Hypertension Awareness Month. So I get real zebrified during November. Um, I wear zebra every day of the year, but during November I get a little crazy with it. But PH, pulmonary hypertension, is considered a rare disease. But we're finding out it's not so rare. My husband's mother passed from it. My sister-in-law passed from it, and a lot of people have been diagnosed with asthma or COPD, but they really have pulmonary hypertension. We use the zebra because when doctors are in medical school, they're taught when you see common symptoms, think of common ailments, meaning when you hear hoofbeats, think of horses, not zebras. Through this example, though, instructors encourage their medical students to think first of the more common and therefore more likely diagnosis. We're the medical zebras because PH is not the first diagnosis doctors think of.
Right. So I want to kind of slow down there because this is where it's going to get a little tricky. And I want to tell you, we are not, nor do we pretend to be medical professionals. Barbara and I are sharing her experiences and those of those people that she knows who have said that we could share theirs. But one thing that is conclusive that we know, even from experience and not being medical professionals, this is one of the most, not the most, but one of the most misdiagnosed things ever. And
And,
especially with the
and
pandemic and COVID-19.
underdiagnosed
Yeah,
also, underdiagnosed.
underdiagnosed. I'm sorry. It's the
Yep,
most mis and underdiagnosed.
right.
Um, I don't know. We don't call it a disease, but it's an
Mhm.
ailment and it can take you out of here. And so we're just so glad and so fortunate that Barbara was able to finally get her diagnosis, but she was almost literally out of here. So I want to kind of let people come on and tell people to come on because I promise you these shows, if we haven't saved lives, we've really been partners and people who lives have been saved because of the information that was shared on this show. And again, we're
Mhm.
not medical professionals, but Barbara has seen enough doctors and paid enough money. And we're going to talk about how much these medicines cost her and all the research. She's gotten proclamations from everybody. The only one I don't think she's ever gotten, but they know about it, is the White House. Is that true, Barbara?
That's correct. That's correct.
And so hopefully this year, President Biden or Vice President Kamala Harris will give us that proclamation for Pulmonary Hypertension Day. But we'll talk about that more. Take us back when you were first diagnosed. What was going on with you that led to this diagnosis?
Okay. We used to do weddings. In the year I'm sorry. The last thing I remember is getting a bride down the aisle about April of 2000. And I told Chuck I needed to go lay down in the back of the wagon for a little bit while he was DJing. And then that's about the last thing I remember. Um, I became bedridden, and my family remembers all of this time, but I don't, because when your brain is not getting enough oxygen, you don't remember things. But Chuck didn't give up on me. He took me to 14 different doctors before finally doctor number 14 said, let's do an echocardiogram. Nobody has bronchitis this long. So they did, and thankfully the technician was very good at what she does, and she realized or saw that the echo was showing an elevated pulmonary artery pressure. Excuse me. Normal pressure is around 12 to 14. Mine was 78 at the time, so it was quite high. But like I said, I don't remember most of that 2 years that I was bedridden because the lack of oxygen. My family remembers every minute of it, and that's why I strive to raise awareness so other families don't have to go through what mine did. Like I said, it's classified as a rare disease, but there's many in the medical field as well as the CDC that believe that it's an underdiagnosed, misdiagnosed illness or disease. It's an incurable disease. What has happened is the vessels in my lungs have constricted. Right here you can see this is, I'm sorry, this is normal. Oh, this is normal. See how open that pulmonary artery is? And this one is about where mine was. We were about closed there. So not a lot of oxygenated blood was getting through to the rest of my body. So that's the reason why we have bluish lips and nail beds as one of the symptoms, as well as the breathlessness, chest pain, hoarseness, a dry cough, dizziness, and fainting, swollen ankles and legs because our bodies can't pump hard enough to push all of that fluid out. Plus, the heart has to do a whole lot, and pumping oxygenated blood through our system, through our body, is one of the main things that it does. Mm-hmm. So when your heart, especially the right side, is not able to pump as hard, what it will do will enlarge and it will stiffen, so that the heart has to work entirely too hard to do what it's supposed to do. So that leads to heart failure. Okay. So we've really got to pay attention to our bodies. That's another thing that I did not do. I probably had PH 2 years prior to becoming bedridden. I was breathless, short of breath all the time. Fatigue was awful, and as we age, we tend to make excuses for why our body is doing that. Mm-hmm. We say that, we've gained weight, we need to slow down and that kind of thing. We always make excuses. But one of the main things that I try to stress is you've got to listen to your body, whether it's pulmonary hypertension or something else. If your body is telling you you've got to slow down, you better listen.
Absolutely. Please listen.
Absolutely.
I don't know why I'm getting feedback, but I will find out shortly. So, Barbara, what I want to do now is just slow down a minute. I'm going to see if I have my promo for MMN. We're going to take a break so I can make sure that people are on here that want to be on. We've increased some numbers because I was able to share it. So I want everybody to download our app. And so we're going to take just a little break to share information about that. right, we're back, everybody. So that was McNary Media app. It's available on Roku, Amazon Fire, smart TVs, Apple TV, and on all smartphones. So whether you have an Android or an iPhone ness or an iPad, you can download the McNary Media app. And Barbara, we have subscribers and viewers in 14 countries now, and I cannot name them all yet. But with Barbara and this show, I think this may be the first show that really went international because of Barbara and the work that she does with this amazing association and her advocacy and her activism. I promise you, not only is she getting these proclamations, not just to say she received them, but it's all about creating awareness. So, Barbara, you want to tell them about how they can get more information after they watch the show, and of course, watch the show over and share this show, because this is one of those shows where we are giving out a ton of information and it can be confusing. Again, consult your medical professional if you are having any of the symptoms that Barbara shared that she had or that she has done extensive research and found out about. So Barbara, also tell us about the association, or where they can it's like a community, it's a tribe that shares information and resources.
Pretty much. There's quite a few Facebook groups, but one that really started it all was 30 years ago. This year, the Pulmonary Hypertension Association was founded by 4 ladies in Florida who were diagnosed with pulmonary hypertension. And they sat around their kitchen table for a year or so, and they built and grew the Pulmonary Hypertension Association. Their website is phassociation.org. And there's also another real good one, phaware.org. But get onto Facebook, look for groups for pulmonary hypertension.
Yes.
The thing that I really try to tell people is that if you've been diagnosed with asthma or COPD or obesity or sleep apnea and treatment is not working, ask your doctor about the zebra, pulmonary hypertension. By the way, did y'all hear that Loretta has her own network? Yes, she has her very own network, and we are on that network. Go to McNarymedia.network, and you will find this show later on, as well as other shows that she has done. Also with Chloe Tipton, the singer, had a double lung transplant. And that's the only cure right now for PH is a heart, lung, or double lung transplant. Of course, that opens up another whole can of worms with all the medications and things that you have to make sure that your body doesn't reject those lungs. And Chloe has been another huge advocate for us, as well as Steve Van Warmer, also California. He's the founder of phaware.org. His son, Lucas, unfortunately did not survive pulmonary hypertension. And a lot of kids have this. There are 14 FDA approved treatments for PH, but there's only one for children. That's got to change. The Pulmonary Hypertension Association is in Washington, D.C., and they go to the Capitol a lot and talk to Congress and let them know that we need some help with PH. Loretta was talking about the expense of the medications.
Mm-hmm.
Folks, I'm on the cheap one. It's only, and I just found this out last week, Loretta, it's $14,000 a month. Yes. There are scholarships. There are grants that are available, but this time of year is tough because we've all got to requalify. And if Congress doesn't fund these foundations that help us with these medications, we don't survive. So we need Congress to help us either fund these organizations, or they need to get the cost of these drugs down. There's a young lady down in Louisiana, hers is $132,000 a month. Hers has to be put through a Hickman right into her chest, and it pumps medication into her heart 24/7. Anytime she goes to the hospital, she's got to make sure that somebody doesn't stop that pump from pumping. It's kind of like a diabetic uses a pump to pump insulin into the body, but it's a pH medication. One thing that I have, Loretta, that people have asked me about as far as what's the difference between pH and COPD and asthma. pH is the constriction of the blood vessels. Yeah, I talk with my hands a lot. COPD is the obstruction of the airflow, and asthma is the inflammation of the airways. So pH is completely different. Animal, the zebra, this is a horse of a different color. And we started making t-shirts with that on there. So, and Loretta, I think, has one too. So
I still have my t-shirt. And let me tell you, Barbara, when I'm not playing with you, we have participated and we ranked. And you remember when we did the blue lips, when I and also the direct, and she has blue lips on today. She came to the studio one year. She told me she was participating in a blue lip campaign for the Guinness Book of World Records. And I was like, yeah, sure you are. And she says, but Loretta, I need you to wear blue lipstick. And I was like, trying not to be vain, because I will do anything for a good cause, and pulmonary hypertension has my heart. As long as I have a show, I will always dedicate a show every November to the awareness of pulmonary hypertension, because I believe the more you talk about something, the more aware people are, the more lives we can save just by passing on information. So we put on a blue lipstick. She gave me my own. It had never been used. And I painted my lip, did the blue lipstick, and as did our media relations guy at Comcast that year. How did we do, Barbara? How close did we get?
We had the record for the most blue lip kisses in the world. And I don't have the number. I don't remember the number offhand. But we're listed in the Guinness World Book of Records.
And that's because of Barbara doing all this work. I promise she's an army of one. She and Chuck, her husband. Chuck is super amazing. And I would only be so lucky to have a guy to stick by me like Chuck has stuck by Barbara. And I know you say that's her husband. He's supposed to do that. Well, a lot of husbands don't. A lot of wives don't. I know people, personal friends, who, when they were sick, whether it was breast cancer or it was prostate, people walked away from their spouses because it was just too much. And I can't point fingers at that because I've never experienced it, don't know what it is. But I do know that Barbara has a son, and Brandy, her daughter, and Chuck, her husband, they have been, and when I say Barbara is busy with this pulmonary hypertension zebra lady, everywhere she goes, everything she owns, she puts that awareness on it. Everything. So we did the blue lip thing. What's another competition we did, Barbara?
Oh gosh, I don't know that we've done another competition.
Not for the Guinness Book of World Records, but you have these different campaigns that we participated in.
Well, I think you may be talking about the straw challenge.
Yeah.
We tell people to take a straw and set your timer on your telephone and breathe through a straw for 1 minute while you hold your nose. And that will give you an idea of how a pulmonary hypertension patient breathes 1,440 minutes a day. And it's difficult to do. So y'all unwrap a straw and close your nose and breathe through a straw, and you kind of get an idea of how we live every day, every day.
And it's so difficult to do. It's
Oh,
so,
well,
and we're volunteering it, but it's really difficult to do. So,
it is.
one other
It
thing I
is.
wanted to talk about, Barbara, with this, like I said, because of her and her friends all over the world, the Loretta McNary show became international once. And the sad part is, and I always share this story as well, I did not want to do this show with Barbara. I did not want to talk about pulmonary hypertension. I didn't know what it was. I wasn't comfortable. And Barbara had this big, it's smaller now, but her air tank, her oxygen tank, it scared me. And I didn't feel like, I won't say I felt sorry for her, but it was so much compassion because I have a big heart. I don't know if people understand how big my heart is. And I just
It's
wanted
huge.
her not to have to go through that. I just did not like that she had to go through that. So she and I finally did the show, and it was life changing. I remember it at a Comcast studio. It's where I first met this lady. And another
Yeah.
year, she and her daughter came in, and she had this beautiful zebra cape, or was it brandy scarf or something? It was huge, and she
No,
let me
yeah,
put it
okay,
on, and I
yeah.
didn't want to give it back.
Yeah, that was the cape that Brandy made for me.
Yeah.
It's purple on one side and zebra, of course, on the other side.
Yes.
But everybody knows that I'm the zebra lady. I wear zebra every day of the year, and like I said, in November I get a little crazy. But Chuck puts up with me. Had he not stuck with me and taken me to 14 different doctors, I would not be here to raise awareness of pH. Um,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. Kids, babies die from this. One fun fact, though, is that Viagra was invented for this disease. Um, Now people know it as the little blue pill for ED, but it's a vasodilator, and that's our problem. Our blood vessels are constricted, and the sildenafil will open up those vessels so that we can get oxygen and that the blood can go through our system. Um, so, but the drug company made a couple of bucks from the ED side of it, but
Yeah.
it has been FDA approved for the treatment of pH since then.
That is so wonderful. And because of the work Barbara does and has done, she has gained friends, not just people who watch the show. She's literally become friends with people across the world. And I've met a lot of them because she has these monthly dinners, free dinners for people to come and get information and to just, it's like I won't say a
Support group.
comforting group, but it's so much more than just a group of people with pH and their families being fed, because there's a lot of information. There's a lot of support. There's a lot of prayers. We pray when we know somebody's in the hospital. We mourn with families when somebody just crosses over the line. And I won't say people give up with it, because as you can see, Barbara's a fighter. So pulmonary hypertension does not stand a chance with her, nor or anybody that's associated with Barbara, because she will fight and advocate with every breath that she takes. Literally, she does that.
And there's a lot more people around the world that do this every day as well. Maybe not quite as crazy as I do with the zebra, but there's a lot of advocates uh, and people that raise awareness every day, much like I do. And with the support group meetings, of course, we haven't had one in 18 months, so hopefully 2022 will bring back our in-person support group meetings. That's our prayer anyway.
So, Barbara, I know you and I were talking pre-show. You talked with your doctor. She wanted us to mention something about with COVID-19, and then those
Right.
with pulmonary hypertension, and how that has really affected everyone with pulmonary hypertension and or those who have COVID-19. So, is it worse for somebody with pulmonary hypertension? I can only imagine that it
Oh
is.
yeah, absolutely. Because usually someone who develops COVID-19 also develops pneumonia or double pneumonia, And our lung system is so compromised already that when COVID comes in, a lot of PHers, yeah, we're PHers, have to be intubated. So some don't come off of the, some don't come off. So, but I don't know. One, can I tell people what my goal is of this whole campaign that we do every year and every day of the year, as far as that goes? My goal is that when a woman, when a woman finds, or a man finds a lump in their breast, they go to their doctor and say, could this be breast cancer? I want people to know enough about pulmonary hypertension, or even just the disease, just the name of it, that they'll go to their doctor and say, could this be PH? I want people to be aware there's so many people that die from this disease needlessly. Chuck's little sister, 35 years old, went to bed one night, didn't wake up. The only thing that was on the death certificate was an enlarged pulmonary artery. So she had PH. And now this was in 1995. There was only one medication back then. It had to be pumped directly into the heart. It was called Flolan. Had to be kept cold, which is another challenge when you have to wear it, like a pump around your waist.
Yeah.
But thankfully, there's lots of drugs that have come down the pike, and more coming. With COVID, usually Loretta and I have a medical person with us that can answer any of the questions that people may have. But with COVID, all the doctors are so backed up that they're playing catch up.
Yeah, and we weren't able to get anyone. Barbara tried. And when I say Barbara tries, that surpasses anybody else's efforts, because she's going to try until she just hits the brick wall, and the brick wall starts hitting back. But she did try to get someone. We've had some amazing physicians on to help us understand and talk about treatment and prevention, or just how to cope with it, and even how a caregiver can, we have to take care of caregivers too, because they're in the fight as well. But
exactly.
Please see a medical professional, even after this show, if you know somebody's having those symptoms. Barbara, what are those symptoms again? So people, because we only have about a minute in the show. Let's talk about the symptoms so they can know what to say when they go to
shortness of breath, hoarseness, because when the pulmonary artery enlarges, it's so large that it will press against the vocal cord nerves. So you get hoarseness, bluish lips and skin, chest pain or heaviness. I told them if they would get if they would get this elephant off my chest, I'd feel so much better. Chronic fatigue. It was really something. I couldn't get up out of bed to go to the bathroom. The dizziness, the dry cough, fainting, and swollen ankles and legs. My ankles were so swollen I couldn't get my shoes on. It looked like elephant legs or ankles. So there again, people have just got to know about this disease, to go to their doctor and say, I heard the Loretta McNary live show, and I'm wondering if might I have pulmonary hypertension, or could you give me an echo or something, because now the gold standard is the right heart cath.
Yeah.
They go in and actually take the actual pulmonary pressure so that the patient can get started on medication and feel better.
And if you go when you go and see your doctor, you call your doctor and say you saw the Loretta McNary live. Barbara Thompson, the zebra lady, was on talking about symptoms that match your symptoms, or even the ones that we haven't talked about. At least, please, you owe it to yourself and to anyone that you love that has been having this respiratory issues and they haven't been able to get any relief or a complete diagnosis or medicine that helps them, because Barbara lives a full life now. This lady is everywhere. She has more energy than two 20-year-olds. I promise you. She just goes,
I
goes,
don't know
goes.
that I go that far.
Oh, you do, Barbara. You do. I know you do. You and your husband still have date night. You all are helping other people, and you are relentless when it comes to pulmonary hypertension awareness. You are relentless.
It's
So
just so
please,
important. It's just so important.
it is
Like
super
I said,
important.
people die
Yeah.
because of lack of awareness of this disease. You know, there's so many doctors now. I've just in the last week, I've heard of people going to their doctor or calling different doctors, pulmonologists or cardiologists, and saying, I've been diagnosed with pulmonary hypertension, and they say you need to call somebody else. I don't
Mm.
know. I don't know about it. I don't know enough about it to treat you. So
Oh, wow.
they
Well,
say
there are a
it's
ton of doctors here that do know, and there's pulmonary hypertension in their names now. But when we first started this, they weren't using that as a pulmonary hypertension clinic or
right,
office. So we've come a long way, baby. And Barbara is
long
really,
way,
truly a
long,
big
long
part of
way.
that. A big part of that. Pamela has tuned in. I love me some Pamela Marshall Coon. She is so amazing. And the thing is, Barbara, I think we quoted that there were more women with pulmonary hypertension than men.
Yeah, this is predominantly a woman's disease. That's the reason why the sildenafil Viagra, when it was in drug trials, there were a few men in the drug trial that had a strange side effect. Of course, that was reported to the drug company, and we know what happened there. But yes, predominantly a woman's disease, and it can be any age, newborn to 80, 100 years old, um, black, white. Now, also one thing or another thing is that there are diseases that this can be a a pH can be secondary to sickle cell anemia, um, scleroderma, sarcoidosis, HIV/AIDS, a lot of different diseases. And the CDC had even talked a couple of years ago that they think um, that the babies that were being on their death certificate, it said that they died from SIDS. CDC is leaning toward they may be dying from pulmonary hypertension, not SIDS.
Whew. Okay, Barbara, we're gonna have to do this again. Hopefully, we'll
Yes,
start doing
ma'am.
2 shows a year, because I know it's so many other causes in November, and we don't want it. We don't want this to get slighted, because it's like all of them are super, super important, and it is life changing information. We'll have to do mid-year or something, but the show will be available everywhere and all year long, and it's still timely, valuable, relatable information. Please just ask your doctor. Don't wait until your next appointment. Call tomorrow, or
Yeah,
call
just
or go
ask.
to the Pulmonary Hypertension Association link that Barbara talked about. You can find Barbara on Facebook. She has an active page for pulmonary hypertension awareness and information there. Contact me. I'll put you in contact with her in that association, because they even gave me a letter one year where they were just thanking me for my work with Barbara on this awareness. And I don't do it for anything. I just want to help save lives. So, Barbara, thank you so much for being my guest. Thank you for staying on that battlefield of making sure that we can save lives and that pulmonary hypertension becomes a household name, because it is so many people are suffering from it, and we want to save lives. We want to save
Thank you.
lives
Thank you so much for your support, Loretta.
forever, until we find a cure and nobody else is, suffering from pulmonary hypertension. You have my commitment to do these shows every year for the rest of my life. For the rest of my life.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you next time, Barbara Thompson. And in closing, Barbara knows this. Think positive, dream big dreams, help someone along the way. And we will see you I'm going to play my little video as we go out. We'll see you very soon, everybody.